fleshing out your characters the fun way, the ways that are fun. Hello, this is Puddle. Like, sub, bell. So you have characters, right? I would hope so. I hope your comic or novel has characters. Seems kind of important. Well, that's a sufficient enough intro. I'm just gonna jump in and tell you some fun ways I know to flesh them out and build them in your mind's eye, so to speak. And it's easier to write someone if you know their personality. It's easier to know their personality if you know their motivation. And it's easier to know their motivation if you build them up from responses to their experiences. I mean, really, what are we if not just a personification of responses to our own experiences? So, this is where we write the trauma. Trauma does not have to be watching my parents die, my brother burn down our village, or even tiny little moments trained our brains. Moments that we would never at first consider traumatic, but they were still significant. Your character is a baker. They learned baking made them happy when. They experienced what, with who, or where. What made that feel right and magical to them? Or was it all that they know how to do? Was this career built from love or necessity? Consider your character is a thief. Why? Not just because they need to, or they choose to be. What built up to that? The first time that they watched someone steal something, and the way that they processed it, the first time they stole. Maybe they hated the feeling of guilt, but they loved the thrill. Consider that ripple of feelings. Even if you don't show the viewer this verbatim, or you don't spell it out, you can drop those breadcrumbs about your character's incentives and background. You can share their beliefs about their habits then, because you know what shaped them. And this can get super fun when you're working backwards like this. For example, in my story Street Magic, Barca seeks a new place to find her purpose and a place that she belongs. Why? She believes that it is her duty to complete her training without screw-ups. Why? She believes her failures set her back. Why? She believes her happiness hinges on success. Why? She hasn't experienced validation otherwise. She thinks that the two are intrinsically linked. And there we already have a really good basis for why a character behaves a certain way and how they might react when it's questioned. I also have a lineup like this for Robin, but it would be very spoiler heavy to share that here just yet. Maybe someday, but if I'm doing a good job in the story, it'll be obvious when you read the comic. For my main characters, their values and experiences make them feel and believe they are total screw-ups. This gives them something to immediately bond over, and a sort of chemistry can quickly form between them. Once you account for a character's values and potential traumas impacting them, you can write them with a lot more believability. Everyone has values, and yes, everyone has traumas. Like I said earlier, even little things shape us into who we are and how we respond to things. If you make a character hate dogs because they had an incident with a dog when they were young, consider all the little puzzle pieces that led to them, liking sushi, playing tennis, hating their birthday, loving a certain song. Even if you never use these bits and pieces in the canon writing of your comic, screenplay, novel, what have you, considering these details is what helps you to feel like you really know your characters. And I recommend looking inward for a lot of character building. I'd say many writers do this, but I think every creator does this. A lot of us consider our characters to be built from little parts of ourselves. Having a way to connect to that character can do a lot of the heavy lifting for writing. This is also why, if you're writing a character with a different world experience from your own, it's important to consult someone with that actual experience for your writing. Doing so can help a character feel more real and less like a stereotype, and trust me, you want to avoid stereotypes. So this is a fun one, I promise, but hear me out, okay? I have complicated feelings about Pinterest. On one hand, it's the wild west of stolen content and reposts, and that's a huge problem for creators. It's also chock full to the brim of traps set by multi-level marketing recruiters, that's pyramid schemes. On the other hand, it's also a concept-building paradise. Make boards for your story. Make boards for your characters. Make subboards for locations and individual chapters. If you're in a moment where you don't have it in you to write, just pin stuff that makes you go, ha, my character is like that. Sometimes I can't think of a way to fix a story or flesh out a point, so I put it down and I read something or I watch something. Sometimes you're out of input and you gotta take a break and observe some input. And watching a show can sometimes make me think, oh yeah, you could just solve a problem like that. Or, oh, you could just cut to the characters doing Y after X without spelling it out. And that works. Pinterest is like a bite-sized version of that for concepts. You see photos and outfits and aesthetic posts and comic panels separated from their context, and like shower thoughts, you can be struck with a lot of inspiration after coming up with only duds for weeks. But again, I gotta be clear, this site is a haven for stolen content. If you are pinning artwork or something that is not linking directly to the creator, keep your boards private. Also, so no one spoils your story for themselves. Here's a glimpse at some of my private boards. You can see that I have subboards for characters and even chapters, containing photo references for locations and one-off lines that remind me of my characters. And you can delete or move pins at any point when something doesn't feel like it fits your character, or you don't think you'll utilize it for your story. This is another fun one. Sometimes I need good music to work to, and nothing gets me in the mood to switch gears and get to work on a specific story like listening to a playlist of tracks that I've curated around my story. You could even do character-specific playlists. Like the Pinterest tip, sometimes the extra bite-sized input can help you make decisions about facets of your characters. Here's some examples from my projects. There are entire sides to characters and story developments that I would have never thought of naturally without the extra input fodder. I can't overstate. If you're having problems with output, try to give yourself some input. I know your story already means a lot to you, so give yourself a chance to explore different options when you're running out of fuel. Write outside of your story. 1 or 2 panel gags for yourself. 1-page short stories of small-scale events. If you want to release them later, whatever, fine. But build character interactions that aren't important for canon. Hell, pick your favorite vines, shitposts, TikToks, cartoon gags. Consider which characters you would project onto the situation. Why? It's fun and it makes them feel like they're your characters. And also, a little secret, you can make whatever fan art of your content that you want. You hold the power. Be the most passionate member of your own fandom. Big thanks to my patrons. Check out my other videos if you get the chance. Thank you for being so supportive, and thank you for listening. Take care.